Dearest death-flagged adorables, this is internet personality Vangelus, and we have all survived to see the third bookending review of this Yolopark Wave 1 trilogy for Rise of the Beasts. It's Bumblebee! Remember Bumblebee? He floats like a butterfly, comes like a sting. He was also provided for review by Yolopark, and represents the third of their AMK series Transformers model kits, which are more like figure kits, since assembly is a minimal 5 to 10 minute affair that doesn't involve building anything remotely complex. As mentioned in the other two AMK series videos, all the joints and complicated parts have already been pre-built, so you just have to plug on some minor details and slam a few big pegs into big holes. Bumblebee is probably the most finicky of the three, as his door wings and shoulder blade wheels are oddly persnickety to install compared to anything else I've experienced in my Yolopark adventure thus far. The freewheeling wheels on the shoulder blade wheels mean that getting the peg in there can be like it's mocking you. It's like a little clown spinning around, and the door wings are just at an odd angle and they're not jointed, so it can feel a little scary getting them in there. I also had to reshoot most of this footage in the middle because it was wildly out of focus, so I can also say that it's quite possible to disassemble a Yolopark AMK series kit if you so choose for customizing purposes or ridiculously specific YouTube filming purposes. Wearing the plump, friend-shaped Bumblebee movie crossed with Lorenzo Edgeboy aesthetics of his Rise of the Beasts appearance, this is the most palm-filling and idly squeezable of the opening trio of Yolopark kits for the film. Big boots, cuddly curves, but with harsh and edgy Camaro breasts. Once again, the combination of plastic colors and pointed paint applications for things like the hood stripes or the silver bits leads to a pleasant overall visual, though the yellow polymer is just pale enough to lack a warm luster that would hide the fact that it's, plastic. It contrasts enormously against the now expected gunmetal undergreeble plastic tone Yolopark has used so effectively across these kits. On the bright side, it's the kind of contrast that can look striking as well, with the right lighting and a synchronous sense of personal taste. Getting into accessories, Bumblebee sadly shares a similar fate to that of his big tired dad Optimus Prime, in that he simply includes 2 extra pairs of hands. They are an easy ball socket swap, so that helps. To go with his big beefy bumble fists, you get a pair of relaxed open hands. And then to go with those, you get a pair of splayed open hands. It's 3 basic keynotes you do want to see in hand swap pairs that are provided on action figures. One of the visual elements B held onto from his personal feature film were these huge expressive palms, knuckles, and digits, so I do feel there's a lot of value from these 3 pairs of options. It also helps that he doesn't have a literally orphaned gun-holding hand like Optimus Prime. Generally, he doesn't feel as lacking as his commander, but some kind of weaponized forearm swap is still clearly absent in this package. Also, a pointing finger with this hand, that would be neat. Maybe just because they're so big, maybe just articulated hands on Bumblebee would have been neat, but I'd also go for, a knife. Like Optimus Prime, Bumblebee's ball socket neck is his head's at the top of the stalk of that ball socket neck, so he's got humongous ball socket head joint range. And also he's got ball socket at the base of the neck, not quite as intense as on the other two, but you can still get a little bit of pumping out of that. And his ears can wiggle. I wish they ratchet clicked in place up there, because it's really easy to bump them down to looking all silly and droopy. His shoulders have got pretty much a full range. The shoulder pads can double hinge outward and down a little bit, or up if you need them to be out of the way, but honestly, they get a little bit of action when I do this. That's about it. Also, his boobs can wiggle. This is primarily because if you have them, outwards as far as possible, and then you swing an arm forward a bunch, as you can see, they will wiggle to get out of the way. It's not intense. I think Toy Guy said this might be helpful for stop-motion people who want to stop-motion animate Bumblebee wiggling his pecs, because that's a thing. You can also wiggle his doors, but there is only the peg connection they use to plug in on the back. It is supremely tight, and I feel like if you do this too much, you're going to accidentally put too much pressure on this very thin part here, and, you know, be sad. You can also wiggle the wheels on the backs of his shoulder blades, because they also peg in and have a bit of range. So there's a lot of, like, Bumblebee body language you can engage in if that is your kind of thing. Now, his biceps can swivel happily. His elbows are double hinged, but they've got that, you know, Nouveau movie Bumblebee thing where there's a little sticky outy bit there that bumps right into the joints. So you gotta rotate that a little bit, and then you get the full flex range. No linkage here, it's just a very simple, very organic looking joint. I do like it. The ball socket at the top, where the hands clasp themselves on, has a huge amount of range, as per usual with this lineup of figure kits. And then the mid-torso, you think it might be a ball socket joint the way it works like this, but you saw the other two, it was just a you know, a funny double-hinged peg system of all things. No, it's just a ball socket this time. Kind of cool. However, the pegged-in waist swivel down there, would you believe it, that has a hinge to supplement the forward motion on here, so you can hinge that forward a little bit. You can see it happening. So you can go from back to forward to back to forward. It's not super deep, but it's just enough to, at a $30 USD price point, feel kinda neat. Down here on the hips, these bits can just fold out of the way. So if you are having any trouble posing this dude's hips, just fold these things out of the way until you're done. But this also helps me show that he's got a full range for kicking forward or winding up. There is a thigh swivel there that this, you know, closable door is attached to. That's the main reason why you might want to do that. Open it or close it, is to make some room for that thigh. Don't even really need, yeah, here you can teabag without using his thigh doors. Wish I could say the same thing. Now here's something that's kind of cool. We don't have any phantom, illusory linkage articulation here. We just got linkage articulation. This rips on a $30 US price-pointed robot action figure. This rips. This kicks ass. This almost makes Bumblebee my favorite of the three. If he had accessories beyond his hands, I think he would be. The moment he has accessories, he is probably going to skyrocket right up to the top of my enjoyment factor, because this is the stuff. This is why we get up in the morning, baby. This is why we shave. This is why we bathe. There's a hinge in here. I don't think that was necessary, but, you know, it's there. If you really want these to slope up and inwards, no matter where you have put the ample ankle bend. You can also swivel the foot because it connects with a peg. There is a dedicated forward-backward wiggle. This thing is on a pinned hinge, and then you got you some big bumble toe. So overall, articulation on Bumblebee is very, very pleasant. It's not the highest range, but boy howdy, it's still a good range, and double boy, double howdy when this starts happening. Here, I'll show you, it even works on the other leg. Oh, when that starts happening, this is the rest of the video. 10 minutes of this with mid-rolls, please, and thank you. Much like Optimus Prime, Bumblebee's delivery in this Rise of the Beasts figure kit line hits a premature ceiling due to a lack of accessories beyond some simple hand swaps. And that's a shame, because his tactile hand feel is easily on par with Optimus Primal's, while the full-on interlink knee joint rockets him a hair's breadth from being my favorite of the trio. A hand cannon and a forearm blade, perhaps some sort of bonus battle-masked head, those would all fill in most of the gaps for me. Hopefully that accessory kit comes together nicely, the one that I keep talking about, that I know I saw Yolopark announce somewhere. I hope I didn't imagine it, because I've actually had trouble finding and reconfirming this information as to its existence ever since anyone has said, hey, can you link me to a news story? I actually can't easily find one anymore. Did I imagine this? Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and that's been the first wave of Yolopark's Rise of the Beasts figure kits. As always, many extra thanks to my Patreon and YouTube membership supporters, and big bonus thanks to Dave, that Dave, over on Ko-fi, for the big beefy note he sent on Ko-fi. Specifically as thanks for sending him on a Yolopark adventure. I hope it's been fun. That kept my personal undergreeble toned and ready for action.